Pucknology. Pucknology. After dark. After dark. Oh my.
Bienvenue à Pucknology After Dark. Après que les Green gagnent 7-2 sur les Canadiens de Montréal. Yes.
Holy hell, the last time you want to speak French, just send the French text over to me. At least I'll do it better.
He's
I'll
Canadian, you know?
inflection it properly.
Yeah.
All I'm gonna say is we like les boots and we can't not lie.
I don't know, but I don't...
Pour les frais partir sur ce
Oh,
social,
no.
utiliser
Oh, no.
hashtag pour commentaire, poser des questions. Aussi, si vous voulez sur
all
Twitter,
right, people. If you want to be part of the show, please use the hashtag Pucknology After Dark. Follow us. Tweet at Eric Landy, at I Read Pucknology, at who else we got? Puckguy14.
Nobody cares.
I just couldn't be standing that anymore, Eric. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's all the French you're gonna get from me tonight. But I had to give it a little French flair. If I had chance and the time to break out the poutine, I would. But
Sorry.
I'm gonna kill you, AJ. Oh my God, that air horn.
Oui.
With us tonight, AJ Strong and that damn annoying horn.
Oui.
The guy who probably could speak better French than mine, Ian Reed.
I can't speak better French than you. I would just make it sound better as I butchered it.
Gotcha.
Linguistically, anyway.
Oh, I've never really spoken French before, so...
And you still haven't.
Les ichete.
Mange la merde.
And oh wow.
Je ne sais quoi.
And of course, the guy who did his laundry and spells his name the right way, Mr. Eric Landry.
Parlez-vous français? Anybody? No?
No.
Growing up in England, you do have to take French as a second language. It is required, so there's that.
You grew up in England?
Yes, I did.
Hey, are we just finding this out?
Yeah,
guys?
how am I just finding out this out now?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was in Italy before that, so come on, guys.
Italy. Wow. All right. Okay. Well, we will get back to Eric Landry. Come
on! You can't even say laundry. It's just Landry now. At least laundry's funny. Oh, I think we lost Eric.
Okay. All right. Take two. All right. With that being said, Sharks win 6-2 over the Montreal Canadiens. It looks more and more likely, for the first time since 1970 or 72, that there will be no Canadian teams in the playoffs. AJ, good evening to you, sir. Your thoughts on this victory tonight?
It was a good one. Oui.
Oh, God.
No, it was good, man. They came out. It was like the polar opposite of the Vancouver game, man. They came out gunning from the get-go, and you can't ask for more than that. Got their legs under them quick, kind of made up for last night's start. So, I mean, you can't ask for more, man. They looked good. Still got to work on them special teams, but me likey, we.
Eric?
Are we waiting for
Puck
Guy to find the mute button, or?
Yeah, well, no. Ian, good evening to you, sir.
His mute button is actually in French. That's why he was having a hard time finding it.
La button, Ian, good evening to you, sir. Pick up 2 more points, and we're on a roll. What did you take from tonight?
C'est bon. Yeah, I mean it was an excellent game for the Sharks. Obviously, I thought that even when the score was a lot closer, I thought the play really wasn't reflective of the score. I thought the Sharks really just kind of had their with the Canadiens for most of the game, especially in the third period. They just didn't take their foot off the gas, and it's amazing how fast things kind of turn around because like 3-4 days ago, I think we're all like, looking for our bomb shelter for the end of the world, and now everything's all hunky dory again. So,
As usual.
yeah,
Of course, all is well. Eric, hello. Wow, my mind is so.
I'm in
tonight.
Southern California. You do know that it's dark outside, right?
Wow.
It's been a long day, but
Yeah.
what did your take from tonight?
Eric's quick take. Damn, that third period was sexy. That's all I got to say about that.
All right. I like it.
All right. Well, with that,
As you can tell, Landy wants to get out of here in about an hour.
No, it was just it was awesome to see this team really put the foot down, especially when you thought, well, they might come out a little flat-footed because 3 games in 4 nights, they had the built-in excuse of travel and back-to-backs, but you know what? They came out like gangbusters in that third. Boys, I put it to you this way. Had we seen this 2 years ago under Todd McClellan, do you think they would be going pedal to the metal, or do you think they'd be sitting back nursing that 1-goal lead?
Sitting back and
Nursing it.
taking a chill
Like
pill.
an infant.
Yeah, and so what a difference a year, some good acquisitions and a good coach does for you, or at least a fresh coach. The jury, I think, is still out on whether or not Pete DeBoer is a good coach, but he does seem to have a good read on the room, has a good idea of when to put players in what positions, press what buttons. We didn't like the line combos that played against Buffalo and the beginning of Vancouver, but he came back and he brought out the 4-headed Hydra monster again. That is, Thornton, Marlowe, Couture, and Tierney. And as my brother of the Chris Tierney Fan Appreciation Club, he can definitely vouch for us that that was some sick passing by Mr.
that
Chris Tierney.
saucer fast was obscene.
That was sweeter than bolognese on top of spaghetti and chicken parm. Oh,
Yeah, and
Could we not think of a French dish?
It was some wicked gravy
Blah,
on
blah.
the
it
poutine.
was so
Yeah.
it was so much nicer than snails covered in gravy. There you go, Jay.
Me and Ian both got on record as saying we think Chris could be easily a 2A, 1B kind of player, and this is the reason why. If you just look at his vision, he's got Thornton-esque vision. I think the talent, as far as getting the passes there, isn't. I mean, it's nowhere close. But you can see him. Already start to think about the game just that one step quicker. And so, when he is able to make the right play in that vision he's already got, it's really special to see. I mean, you saw it with both passes. I mean, I think the pass to Pavelski was even more amazing because of how much traffic there was, and he was just able to get that puck on the Pavs' tape, and Pavs just buried it. So
I like I like Gen X calling you out and saying, bullshit, it's not coaching.
I think in the early days of T-Mac's regime, I think we could say that the team pressed and that the team tried to exert their will. But, man, those last 2.5 years, it just seemed like whenever this team got a lead, they would really just...
They'd fall back into a defensive show.
Yeah.
Just quickly, shout out to our Pucknology homie Felix for the comment of the night. Tierney's saucer pass was dirtier than this podcast.
Whoa! Nice. Atta boy, Polter Puck. Nice. Yeah, they kind of were getting into that little bit of all right, we have a 3-2 lead, we got this, we'll go back. But I like what DeBoer said to Bakes as they were starting the third period. We're going pedal to metal. I mean that's something that you wouldn't see from anybody else, and that's the hunger that this team needs
Well,
to go into June.
We're seeing it consistently now, which is to me is the big difference.
Right, but I mean that's the thing. That's what's going to get you to playing in June. You got to keep it. You got to keep it going. Like I've always preached before when we lost, 110%, 100% of the time. Back to you, Andy.
Well, good segue. I mean, boys, we've got more goals scored than Chicago does. Chicago right now is sitting at 180 goals for, and the Sharks are sitting at 188.
But with that said, though, isn't Chicago playing in a much more difficult conference with better goalies?
I don't know about that. I mean, difficult division, sure, but...
Well, I'm just asking, man.
Right now, the Sharks are sitting as the fourth best offense in the NHL. That's amazing, and I think we just look at the four centers and just seeing how much production you're getting up and down the lineup, and I don't think we've seen this level of a third and fourth line in a very long time.
Well, in Gen X bringing and how many allowed?
167, which is dead center. So they're 15th. Yeah, 15th in the league in goals against.
Okay, that's serviceable as long as he keeps scoring goals.
Well, it's kind of the same thing. It's like the goals for in the power play up in the top third of where they're at. And it seems like goals against and PK bottom third.
So, I mean, right now the team is 8th for differential. So, I mean, you'd like to see that shored up a little bit, maybe tweak the goals against average a little bit, and I think Reimer will help that out because you got to look at how many of those bad goals that Alex Stalock let in. You know, if we had a competent backup, that number would probably be in the 150s range right now.
That could be. And in Gen X, stop asking us questions that you know the answer to. Just post them, for Christ's sakes, man.
Another thing, too, is we talk about goals for and goals against. The Sharks are 8th in the league in goal differential at plus 21, which is phenomenal, considering that number 2 is Chicago at plus 27. We aren't even going to talk about Washington that's at an unreal plus 60 right now. So they're getting their goals. They are finding ways to win, like we saw last night. We also saw tonight that they were willing to kick their ass the third period of a back-to-back, third game in 4 nights. I mean, that's what they need, and that's what they're doing, and that's great to see on a consistent basis, like you said, AJ.
Yeah, big time.
Big time. While I have this, I will put up the standings right now. So another 2 points for the Sharks. They creep behind Anaheim by 2 points, and they're only behind LA by 4. Arizona lost again tonight, so
they didn't just lose tonight. They got run out of the building.
They got beat like a rented mule, I think is what they would call it. Arizona actually has 19 games left, so they're now maximum is at 98. Vancouver will play tomorrow night against the Islanders. Their maximum is 2, so 102, so 103. So now we are now the magic number at 29 to clinch the Pacific Division playoff spot.
And it was said earlier that the Pac Division is set. It's set. It's just where are we going to see the top 3 finish?
Right,
boys, it's the state of hockey. Get it right, okay? We are now the state of hockey.
Ooh.
It's nice
I
to
like
see that
that.
that California's kind of regained that gauntlet from hell for everybody again. That's nice because it
Yeah.
was sad to lose that.
Yeah, it was pretty funny because I'd listened to Hockey Central at noon, and you just hear these old Canadian guys being like, "Boy, it's Death Valley over there, man. Any Canadian team that has to roll through those three teams have it so hard. And dear God, if they have a back-to-back against LA or San Jose, it's like, oh my God, the schedule makers totally bone them. It's like, you guys realize that you only have to do that trip one time. We live in it.
Yeah. Well, and then the next four should be really telling because you got 2 against Vancouver and then Calgary and Edmonton. And while it's like, hey, thank you, schedule maker, for giving us 5 against Vancouver after the trade deadline, essentially, this late in the year. But F you, schedule maker, for making us go to Van, then come home to host Van, just to go right back up there and do a back-to-back against Calgary and Edmonton. How you can't flip those 2 games is beyond me when they involve the same 2 teams. I don't get that.
Yeah,
But-
no, and if you guys looked at Montreal's schedule, of course they get their cranks sucked by the schedule maker, where they get to go to San Jose first, and then they get to go down to Southern California and play the back-to-back. When is the last time the Sharks played a back-to-back in SoCal, and it actually makes sense and not be
Don't-
broken up by a holiday or some other
don't
bullshit?
start.
Don't get me started, man. Don't
Well,
do it.
I'm just
Like
saying.
3
I'm just saying. When you're an original 6 team, you just magically get these extra dates put together a little bit better than let's say as expansion teams. But
Yeah, but I mean, it's a quirky schedule. But I mean, once we get through this, it's clear sailing. Like the schedule.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, at least when you look at it from a quote-unquote state of hockey, as Landy said, the Sharks, 20 remaining, 13 versus non-playoff teams. And in that stretch, we have a 6-game homestand, which is not bad. The Kings, on the other hand, 12. They've got 20 left, 12 at home, 8 away. So they're about the same. They get one more away. But they have 10 versus non-playoff teams, but their next 5 are at home. So they've got a nice home stretch here to try to pad their numbers. But the Ducks, on the other hand, who have been firing clearly on just multiple cylinders, what are they right now? They have like 1 loss in their last 15, 16 games. I mean, they're just
I think they're 8-1-1-1, right?
Yeah, they're just
8 in a row.
Yeah, they're on fire, but their remaining 20, 8 at home, 12 away, 10 versus non-playoffs, but it does include a 5-game roadie. But I should preface that 5-game roadie, while it is back in the Eastern time zone, it's also versus like all Canadian teams. And we all know that they're part of the non-playoff group. So, yeah.
And
doesn't Anaheim have to like make a lowly trip to the Capitals on like a back-to-back at
The last game of the season.
But I would think, and depending on what happens, that could really mean something.
Yeah, they play in Colorado, I think Saturday the 9th, and then they actually expanded the season by 1 day. They have to go from Colorado to Washington on Sunday to play a game that could quite decide who's the division champion and who's playing who in the first round.
Or it could mean absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
that's true too.
Yeah. Well, let's break down the Sharks leaderboard because I think this is kind of interesting.
Is this a new segment? Let me play the sound effect.
No, I think I just want to highlight this one point. Joe Thornton looked so lost after 15 games into the season, and we're just like, boy, has he aged himself out. He's now sitting at 62 games played with 60 points. He's back, guys. He's him and Burns are the offensive motors of this team, and
which only says that everybody else on this team needs to grow more facial hair, because that's clearly the key.
That it is.
Go ahead, AJ. You use the horn. That one works.
Oh, is that right?
There you go.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, God.
But you're also seeing the lower liners. Chris Tierney's almost got 20 points. He's got 19 points right now. Donskoy has 27 points. Hurdle has 33 points. Vlasic, for Christ's sake, has 37 points. I mean, it's so awesome to see these guys start to blossom in the way we know they can play. And I don't know, guys. I'm just having that good, warm, fuzzy feeling. I mean, that happens after a 6-2 win, of course. But
Laurel asking, how lost was he? Let me put it this way: he was so lost. If he was dressed in an orange pumpkin, even Doug Wilson wouldn't know where he was. Because we all know how much Wilson loves orange.
Wow.
yeah, it's his natural color.
That's right.
No wonder the
It's
Bear
blending.
uses that as the third jersey now.
Truth.
And Joe Pavelski's shooting percentage is pretty unreal right now. It's at 17%. Nick Spalling's at 40%, but how many shots on goal does he have? 5 shots on goal, and he's already got 2 goals. 40%.
Unsustainable.
Yeah, in the first playoff series in the deciding game, he will be the one that gets the game-winning goal.
He won't even take a shot. It'll just deflect in.
Oh man, oh man. Or like Randy Hahn said tonight, Peter DeBoer called the SWAT team into action.
No,
Hey, was it me, or did you guys actually hear how fun Randy had tonight? Randy and Jamie were just having so much fun calling that game. And I remember last season, there were times when you could just hear Randy depressed watching that team.
Yeah, but that's because he was working with Baker and not Remenda.
But I think though. Oh God. I think more so than anything though, I think it's that now he's grown comfortable with how Bakes commentates or works the game. So that you kind of have that chemistry, now you can just go with it. So.
Yeah, well, of course it was going to take him some time to build up some chemistry. That was inevitable.
I'm just talking about how much fun they had though tonight. I mean, like you could just hear it bleeding over from TV, and just that they were having so much fun with the back and forth, and it was really good hockey to watch and really good hockey to comment on. And it's such. It blows my mind at how much of a juxtaposition this is to last year, and how low we were at the end of February last year. And now you look at this team and you go, man, if the cards break right, you're going to have a good shot at doing something this year.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean that's the whole thing is that if you start playing well and start getting your ass in gear like you've been doing, and you can carry that over to April, I mean you've got a shot. I think you absolutely, legitimately, no teal tinted glasses on me, have a shot. So,
I mean, because Montreal just looked like it was in a lower league tonight. And you don't normally see that in the NHL where a team just completely dominates another team like that. And
Well, didn't they have a decent amount of AHLers on their roster tonight?
Well, I mean, Mike Brown played more minutes on the Montreal Canadiens tonight.
Oh, well,
than
then
he's played
shit,
on the
there you go,
Sharks
no
all year.
wonder. Then there you go, no wonder.
Chris brings up a great point. This is the record for the 3 teams in the state of California: 105, 62, 8, and 18. Holy crap!
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all. I'm kind of curious as to the Canadian 7 now, how that is. I mean,
so
I'm
is
sure
there
they'll have more
anybody in California that has a negative differential? I don't think so,
No.
right?
No.
Nope.
points. Not anymore. It used to be.
The Ducks had a terrible one, but they've climbed out of it, and they're
Yeah.
plus
Yeah.
7, right?
7. But I mean, if you
But-
look at their plus minus when they heat it up, it's silly, their goal differential.
They're
Let's
at
just
+9 now.
let's just hope that they've used all their energy to come back, and then they have nothing left for them when the playoffs start.
We saw this, right, in Randy Carlisle's last year when they just came out to a horrid start and they just expelled every single bit of energy just to get back in, and they got bounced in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
All right, boys. Well, let's move on. Today was the deadline. Let's first talk about around the league. We'll start with the angry Canadian. Is there anything that jumped out to you that went, okay, I didn't see that coming? Whether it was like a trade. Now, and obviously there weren't really any blockbusters to note, or is it a case of that you were surprised that perhaps Hamuse wasn't moved or drew in or something along those lines?
Yeah, I think that the issue. Sorry, I was just taking some insulin. I think that the issue here is it wasn't the trades that were made. It was more the story of the day was the trades that weren't made. I wasn't surprised that Ham Hughes didn't move. He had a pretty short list of teams that he could, that he wanted to go to. Apparently, they called all those teams, and none of them were interested. Sometimes the no trade will bite you in the rear end that way when, if you want to move on. Drouin not getting traded doesn't really surprise me either. I thought it could definitely have happened today, but Stevie Yzerman wasn't going to sit there and have people pressure him into making a bad trade. He was going to get his price, and if no one was going to pay his price, then he knew he didn't have to move Drouin. So, I think it's. But at the same time, the longer this holds out, I wonder how much it's going to hurt his value going forward. But other than that, it was a pretty. Go ahead. Sorry.
I just wanted to tag on to your Drouin comments. Is that one thing I did see today that is he has to start, I believe it's 40 games in order for a year to his contract to count, and right now he's only at 38. So Yzerman essentially has the power to hold a year off of his contract to make him more appealing in the off season. If if he doesn't start anymore,
definitely get something done at the draft. I mean, there's a lot of teams interested, so. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see how it happens, though, because, Drouin might just need to get a new agent at this point, because I think that is, it's his agent's kind of dicked him over here, too.
Well, Alan Walsh is a mega dick. He was being a major dick to everybody during the lockout and being super douchey. I don't know if this guy thinks he's Drew Rosenhaus or Scott Boras, but I've never seen somebody so pumped about a Martin Havlat goal in my life. That guy just needs to get off his high horse, because if he's telling Drouin to just sit out, don't play in the AHL, you're getting the wrong thing, because all you're doing is not helping yourself.
Right.
And essentially, you're being locked out, and it's not going to help you in the long run.
Yeah, I see Chester. Chester just commenting on a thing in the chat here just says that the market be terrible. Yeah, I mean, look, it's not good what Drouin has done here, but at the same time, this guy's still a third overall pick. Someone's going to pay the price for him.
I mean, look, I think the talent is definitely there, but you got to wonder about the work ethic, man, and to see a talent like that just kind of piss it away because he doesn't want to spend some time in the NHL or in the AHL and develop his talent is just it's kind of ridiculous. Because look at a player like Chris Tierney. He paid his dues. He spent some time in the AHL, developed his game, came back when he had the right opportunity, and now look what he's doing. I mean, also look at Barclay Goodrow. Did it suck to have him go down to the AHL? Yeah, it did. And do we think that he should still be in the NHL? Yeah, we do think he should. But he's almost he is the Barracuda's leading scorer. And if that team happens to get in the playoffs and he leads that team, it's only going to make him so much more better. And Drouin, I think, is just robbing himself of development. And if he's stifled himself in his career, then it was at his own doing.
Excellent. And with that, we move on to the Sharks trades. Now, obviously, nothing happened at all with the Sharks because they've already made all their moves.
Right.
Hmm.
So for what they have done, besides becoming the San Jose Maple Leafs, how are you feeling about what they've done? And we'll go with you, Puck Guy. What do you think it's enough?
I think it's enough. I think they bolstered for what they needed and what to get. They didn't need to go after a Ham Hughes. I mean, sure, Ham Hughes would help, but they didn't have the cap numbers to fit with him. Um, you wanted to go for a strong defensive defenseman. They took care of that. They wanted a nice PK helper in Smalling. They did that. They wanted to solidify their backup in case Dustin Brown tries to take out Martin Jones. They did that too. I mean, they got what they needed. Um, 2 seconds in a fourth. But here's the thing: they got rid of the dead weight that they had buried. They got rid of Rafi Torres. That was what, 2 mil. They got rid of Ben Smith, which was what, 1.6 mil, and they
Something like that.
and then they waived Mike Brown, which is another 1.2 mil. You cleared all that out. Now you have room to bring back Wingles for the stretch run, and you got rid of deadweight while getting something for it that could get you somewhere in June.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you might have paid a little bit over, but you always do at the trade deadline.
Well, I think it'll. We can't really. Obviously, you can do some judgment on this after you see how they perform in the playoffs. But I also think these moves will obviously be judged on what happens come July 1.
Agreed. I mean, I think you have what because those are the guys that they got are all UFAs. I mean, you are very concerned about that. I mean, I can't see Reimer staying. I'm not sure on Smalling. Maybe you keep Pollock. I don't know. But the point being is that you also have Goldobin, Goodrow. You have Meyer, Chartier, LeBlanc, Jeremy Waugh that are going to be waiting in the wings. If it's not next year, it's the year after. So guys like maybe Nieto and Wingles, or even Melker Carlson, have to be hungry for their jobs in the next coming years or two, because their spots aren't guaranteed, and you just have to keep at it. You have to keep the players hungry. You have to keep those in the Barracuda or in juniors to keep their game going to get noticed too.
Yeah, I'm with Chester in the chat. He said he'd rather give up picks and prospects. I think after the strip mining effort that was the last 5 to 8 years, where they were just stripping out everything they had in the minors, I think it was imperative to hold off on the years that the draft picks were given up. So try and prolong them out as far as the buyer would take, and not trade any of the prospects that you're high on, which there's a few now. And so, in my mind, that's a win. Because right now these prospects, these are guys that are tangible. These are guys that you control. These are guys that are in the organization, and you have a clear idea of what you are. A draft pick is a lotto ticket, right? You can have a lotto ticket that you can feel really, really high on, but in the end, it might not pan out to be anything. And the Sharks have been kind of bad at picking their numbers, so to speak.
That's I think that is the biggest point, is that we've seen that the Sharks do not know how to draft and develop defensemen, and that's why I lean towards that. I feel like Doug Wilson overpays for things a lot of the time. And I look at General Fanager today, and you look and you see that the bottom defensive pair for the Sharks is getting together just about $6 million, whereas the bottom pairing for Anaheim and the Kings, the both of them aren't even together making $2 million. So of course that's going to happen, and Chris pointed this out earlier. Yeah, that's going to happen when you suck at drafting and developing defensemen. If you can bring those guys up through your system, obviously you're not going to be paying them as much off the get-go. But when you're forced to go out there and find it because you can't get it inside your own organization, this is what happens, and it ties your hands. They need to do something about this drafting and developing.
And I think that that's why you want to hang on to the prospects that you do have, because you do have an idea that Mueller, as flawed as he may be, he is still a prospect. He is still a guy that you can say maybe in 2 to 3 years, when he's quieted his game down a little bit, he'll be a serviceable NHL defenseman. I don't think he'll be a 1-2 as people were projecting. I think he's going to be more like a 3-4. 5 kind of guy. I'm more in the 3-4. Jeremy Waugh, he's another blue chipper that you want to keep hold of, because I mean, like AJ was saying, you don't have too many of them, and so you have tangible guys right now. Don't trade the tangibles that you have. You can trade the lotto tickets. That's fine. I've always been okay with that, as long as that you have prospects that you think can step up, and you have a timeline, right? Like if we think about great drafting and great developing organizations, your Detroit or Chicago or the Rangers to some extent. What happens is, when their guys start to age out, they have a clear line of succession for prospects to enter in and have chances to grab spots, and they're put in positions where they can play the game and play to their ability and don't feel rushed.
Well, it's dance with the devil, But Gen X pointing out, it says you can't draft or develop, but you'd rather give up picks to keep guys you can't develop. Okie dokie. Well, what's the fucking difference? I mean, really, what's the fucking difference?
Go ahead, Ian.
All right. Here's just kind of going back here, because I kind of been quiet for a little bit. Another thing too to keep in mind is that when you're talking about going back and getting picks, the picks we also gave up, these picks aren't for this year's draft. They're a year out. There's lots of time to replace those picks, for one. So I'm not as upset about those picks. And the other thing too, when you're talking Chicago and Los Angeles, you're also talking teams that basically have to make sacrifices somewhere in order to keep their cap number hit, because you can't keep all those guys around together without making a sacrifice somewhere. And the Hawks, I mean, they went and basically won a Stanley Cup with 4D last year. So obviously, they've looked for cheap solutions for that bottom pair, because they know their top four is going to eat a lot of minutes. Los Angeles, little bit different situation there. Lost Voynov, didn't probably, when they signed Voynov, didn't expect to lose them the way they did. So I think I think it's important to keep in mind that it's especially when you're winning, it's trickier to keep those teams together, and you have to, in the cap system, you have to cut somewhere. And I think that most teams feel if their top four is good enough, then they can get away with a weaker bottom pair.
Agreed.
Right.
Agreed. And like we said before, you have to do the homework in the prospects and the development, or else you don't have that pipeline for guys to step up and take the spots of the aging veterans that are aging out.
And I know I've beaten this drum several times, but I still am flummoxed by the history that the Sharks have had when it comes to drafting and developing defensemen. I don't know that the people that, since this whole thing has started, since Vlasic was taken, since that's basically the last top guy that they've taken on defense that has actually worked out well for the Sharks, but since then, I don't know whoever has been, if anybody has been fired or replaced, but if it hasn't happened yet, it makes me question why, when the track record is so obvious. But,
well, I think the other thing too, though, is the minor league team for this team has been such an afterthought for so long. I know we shit on Roy Sommer a lot for failure to develop players, and I'm right there with you. I mean, I've been very critical of this. I'm not trying to change my tune, but at the same time, this farm team has been such an afterthought by this organization. They've never had, a lot of these teams have just been absolutely dreadful. They didn't surround these kids with anything. I mean, there's more we can't just say, every time that a player doesn't work out, well, Sommer's an idiot, and then, anytime that the Sharks do something right, oh, they got Locure, oh, well, man, they got Couture, well, Tim Burke's a fucking genius.
Well, let me
There's
ask
an organizational problem, and it's not just Sommer.
Well, because let me just ask you a question then on that regard. Do you think one of the reasons why the now Barracuda, but I guess I just say minor league team, you think one of the reasons why it has been so awful for so long is that at least it seems, I'm not saying it is, but it appears like whenever anyone shows a hint of talent, it's almost they're like immediately called up to the Sharks, or in previous seasons that's a prospect that's been traded to get somebody in. So
yeah, I mean,
they never
it's a
have any
combination.
talent that can actually marinate for a little bit. They're just, oh, this person has a hint of something, let's just pluck them now.
Yeah.
You know what? Here's the thing though, and the answer is kind of like a little from column A, a little from column B, but it's mostly just not even surrounding them. Like if you look at the Barracuda, like the guys in the Barracuda this year, those kids are still surrounded by a good selection of AHL journeymen to, as a good mix where, you really didn't get that. You just got like these bottom tier AHL journeymen to go with these, mishmash of prospects that were probably going to get traded, the second they thought they were, they could have something that would help them win now, and moved on. I mean, that's really the problem there. Sorry.
I think I just wanted to tack on. I think the other thing that has always plagued the front office of the Sharks is that a call-up should be the last resort. A call-up, in my mind, is only given. It's only given after a certain amount of games or a certain amount of time for marinating. It should be used as a last resort. You shouldn't be having the Worcester shuttle. You shouldn't have done that to those kids for all those years. In my mind, you don't want to be calling up guys for a stint in the press box. There's an idea of, okay, you need to make sure that this team is intact, the Barracuda is intact, so there's some continuity in that team, so they can gel, so they can go push for playoffs and push for other things, and have their full nucleus of a team together. Because when you start picking and prodding and doing all sorts of things to the roster, you screw these guys up. And then not only that, but you screw up a kid like Barclay Goodrow, who's like, well, I was doing my job up here in the NHL, and now I'm back in the AHL. Like, what do I do? Now I got to have the spiritual quest of trying to figure out what my game is again. It just screws them up. Just leave the kids down there, let them sit, and when you're ready and absolutely 100% ready to be called up to the NHL, call them up. You don't see this dick dance with Detroit, right? You don't see them shuttling these guys back and forth from Grand Rapids.
Is that a trademarked description?
It's going to be a new trademark.
Hashtag dick dance, everyone.
Yeah, and so, I mean... Yeah, Detroit doesn't do this shit at all, and they keep their guys down there, letting them marinate, letting them win Calder Cups, and that's how you put the developmental aspect of the game first, or at least you give them a bone and a chance to compete. Right now, or I mean, for a long time, the Worcester Sharks had like two hands tied behind their backs to try and compete.
Yeah. No, and that's it. It's just been a fundamental neglect down there. And yes, I'm not trying to let Sommer off the hook here, but the AHL team has been just a colossal afterthought for too many years. I mean, it's starting to change now, especially now that they're in San Jose, where people can actually see them and pay attention to them. I think we're finally seeing, a change in management, but still, I mean, Sommer still has to go. But at the same time, they need to keep actually pretending they give a damn about the AHL team.
Yeah. Hey, Puck guy, any follow up with that?
No, you guys actually covered it pretty well. They do need to give a damn about the minor league team, which questions me as to why didn't they just temporarily have James Reimer as the backup goalie with Aaron Dell. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, is now ineligible for the Calder Cup playoffs.
No, there's no way. Look, here's the thing
I
is
was confused by that, so that's
okay.
if you can clarify it, that'd be helpful.
Yes, I'm going to clarify that. For Aaron Dell to be required to be eligible for the HL playoffs, they basically had to send him down and then call him back up after the deadline. It's a stupid paper transaction that probably happened, but because of the market we are in, it just nobody cares enough that someone's going to take the time to report it.
Yeah, St. Owen, just before we get any more down this rabbit hole, thinks I think this qualifies as an emergency backup or an emergency recall. I don't think it counts against him being in the playoffs. St. Owen says, I think that Dell is on emergency recall,
And if he's on emergency recall, he's fine.
yeah,
Also,
Okay.
yeah, that's where I thought he was at too. So
if it's emergency recall, it's even better because then it doesn't burn. Because now that the trade deadline's hit, you have 4 call-ups that you're allowed from the AHL for the rest of the season. And obviously, if they had to send Dell down and then call him up after the deadline, that would count against the 4 call-ups. So if he's on emergency, it should be fine. But I can't see. I mean, as much as we love to all bag on Doug Wilson occasionally, I cannot see the Sharks missing some stupid paperwork. This silly, something this silly and screwing Dell out of the Calder Cup playoffs. I'm sorry, we're not that. Our team is not that stupid.
Dave Victoria chiming in, paper trail dick dance by the Sharks.
Well, it's time for everybody's least favorite segment and mine. Who's got it? Who's got it?
There it is.
I didn't get. Did you get the question, AJ?
Oh, did I? Okay, let me take a look.
I didn't get it.
I'll take a look. I will find out. I will take a look. Oh dear God, I got it. Okay, here we go. Let me preface this to make sure it's okay. Okay, here we go. After Alexander Koryuk scored, well, we just call him Corky. After Corky scored the last Sharks goal of the season in 2004, the lockout happened. So who scored the first goal of the following 05-06 season? Was it Nils Ekman, Patrick Marleau, or Marco Sturm?
Addy.
All right, Ian? First, okay, and Puck Guy. Puck Guy mulling it over saying that's too easy. We're going to go with something else.
I was going to say Marco Sturm.
And you would be wrong, and the angry Canadian and the laundry fellow would be correct.
Oh yeah, boy.
All right, and now
free bleach. Free bleach for everyone.
Nice.
Did he have just one?
Am I supplying the bleach?
I thought that was it. I don't know. Okay, so that was our question. What now? What? There's a slushy. Oh, that's a Jake question, and now it's time for the slushy. Is that it?
Oh, Here we go.
Oh shit! Here we go.
I'm sure your wife is loving that.
Does somebody have the slushy question?
No, I thought that was the slushy.
Oh no! Okay, perfect. Okay, so there isn't one today.
No,
perfect.
no.
Moving on.
Hey, hang on.
What?
We do have a slushy like question from Chester Chivo.
Oh, that fucking guy.
To which I'll get my shout out in, presented by Zach Croft. All right, there, you got your shout out in. All right, not including today, the Sharks have played 3 times on trade deadline day since after the canceled season, 05-06. What is the Sharks' record in those games?
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I can't give you a complete question or a complete answer because I wasn't really listening to the question. What was that?
Okay, not including today, the Sharks have played 3 times on trade deadline day since 05-06. What is the Sharks' record in those games?
I'm gonna go with 0-2-1.
0-2-1. We just won tonight.
You said not including. Listen to him.
Yeah, I wasn't listening either. All right. 2-0-1.
Ian?
1-1-1.
Did anybody get it?
You are so wrong. Mayor of Wrongville. The
let me
Sharks
guess.
are
3-0.
3-0.
That's so
They
Sharks.
won in 05-06, 12-13, and 14-15.
Well, there you go.
And tonight, so now they're 4-0. So that
Hold on.
was
Wait. Hold on. When did they win again?
in 05-06,
Yeah.
in 2012-13, and 2014-15.
How did you have back-to-back leap years?
Huh?
Are we talking
No,
about
no.
wins on leap?
We're talking about trade deadline day.
Trade deadline. Okay, I was looking at. Okay, I thought we were. Oh,
my
my God.
God.
I thought I had to do. See, this is why we see. Oh dear God. Puck guy, just log off now. No one's listening.
So, how about that Jamie McGinn fella?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck
okay.
Jamie McGinn.
Yeah, fuck him.
Fucking Jamie McGinn.
Okay. One thing that was discussed a little bit tonight. I was at the game last Friday versus Buffalo, and not once during that game did I hear. But tonight,
Oh, dear
this
God.
seems to be some sort of new addition. What the hell is that about? Like, what the hell was at the end of every goal? You hear this. Why? Why?
They are obviously fans of the Tim and Sid show on Sportsnet in Canada.
That's right.
We're getting all hot up in here.
Oh, it was guys' night. There you go. That's what guys like. They like rap
No,
horns.
guys' night was on Friday, actually.
Oh, well,
Oh,
then
wasn't
guys
it
don't
tonight,
like rap
ladies'
horns.
night?
I don't know.
Tonight must have been like annoying emo EDM night or some shit. I don't know why they were playing
It
that.
was not annoying.
Okay, moving on. We saw a today there was a tweet that said, "Hey, if you can play an organ, the Sharks are looking for an organist."
Thank
Right,
God.
and I did send over a graphic. I don't know if Landy's had the time to post it or to get it ready to post here, but clearly this has been something that's at least, I don't know how long it's been in the works, but it's obviously something that they've been wanting to ask the fans if this is something they're interested in or what they want to do. Do you have that graphic, Landy?
I do.
Just to give you guys all an idea of what they're asking for. So I don't know how well you guys can see that, but so it's, pick 3 things that you would like to see more of. And so you've got the interactive social media video walls on the concourse, which are always so fun. DJ taking fans' music requests. Obviously, we've already seen that implemented, and it doesn't seem to be. I don't think. I just can't see people going, "Oh my God, I need to get tickets for this because they're going to play my song." Street rallies before every game, I think that could be a little much. You imagine this setup, and that'll probably only drive ticket prices higher if they have to do that for every damn game. The in-game host, this seems to be something that they've also recently included. There was a girl there on the versus.
Keely Krish.
Okay, is she also the girl who does the Barracuda games?
Yes.
Holy crap. Honey. Stop screaming at people, would you please? I mean, her voice is so piercing and just, everything is I'm so excited to be here. Okay, higher or lower, how many games has Patrick Marleau played at home on a leap year? I mean, oh my God, that voice is just so irritating. I don't understand why you would need an in-game host. What was the problem with having Danny Miller run the contest?
Well, the thing is Danny Miller was the in-game host before they canned Joe Ike, and had him do both from center ice.
Yeah,
So-
that's fine. But since then, Danny Miller is always, whenever they've done that, they always had the Pepsi, the tank patrol, bring up the contestant or contestants, depending on whatever the contest is, and Danny's always done it over the PA, and everything's been fine. We can all hear him. We don't have this annoying little girl just screaming at people. And I mean, I saw people physically putting their fingers in their ears because it was that annoying and overbearing. So if they're gonna do this, Look, we need to find.
Different voice.
Yeah, we need to find a girl that is more of a. Hello, Rocket Backhander.
Thank you.
There's someone with a voice
Thank
that
you.
is not piercing like that, that can speak in a slightly lower register, that can still evoke some excitement, but isn't screaming at you and isn't ear piercing. So anyway.
All right.
um,
Well, you
hold
know.
on. Well, hold on.
Hold
Show me
on.
the list again.
Rocket. Oh, hold on. No, all right.
Well, I'm still just hitting the list. So, obviously, the live organ. I think we would all agree that should be like job one on this list. New pregame video. Let's be honest, half the people aren't even there when they're showing that some days. Live band in the arena. They tried it.
No.
While some people thought it was okay, most people thought could care less. They didn't care. Video projections on the ice during pregame. I would dig that. I would pay more attention to like pregame stuff, definitely, because I think that really draws people attention and gets them excited when you see it that big. It's awesome. And then more in bowl giveaways. Give away a bowl.
With all of that in there, of course, AJ and I have been preaching live organ for years. Let's put it this way: when Dieter Rule was in charge of the organ at the then San Jose Arena, that place was so interactive and so into the game, because whether it's doing the Addams Family theme, whether it's doing the little chicken dance or whatever, I mean,
yeah, I was a kid when he was doing that.
It was those little interactions that get the crowd into the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I might also want to suggest bring back 4 in the net pizza you get. That might help.
Well, while I totally agree with you, I don't think that ever happens because of the whole thing with the Michis. I think that whole thing kind of soured it.
4 in the net tacos you get. I don't know. I mean, just something like that. Free orange sauce at La Vix or something like that.
Too bad our organist guy is held up in SoCal now.
Well, yeah, he's got a sweet gig in SoCal. He does. Dieter Rule, again, was here from season 2 till season 6, and then he was picked to be the music guy for the Kings at Staples. Now he does everything for Staples Center. So it would be nice to have him back. We all know, and let's preface this very clearly, that
LA sucks.
That's a given. That's a given. But what I'm trying to suggest is there's no way in hell the old goal song is coming back.
Yeah. Just fucking forget it.
So even
But
being an organist, it doesn't mean that.
Well, but I'm asking you guys though. Here's let's go with you. I mean, obviously, Ian. Not sure when the last Sharks game you attended was. Not sure when the next one you're going to. But when it comes to the whole idea of it, okay, you can, just like the graphic says, you can choose 3. What are the 3 you're choosing?
Let me see the graphic.
I can barely read this damn thing.
Well, make it larger, you fucknut.
Jesus. All right, let me see this graphic.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was I supposed to call you? A dick something? What was the hashtag?
Dance.
Yeah,
Dick
yeah.
dance.
Put it together, you dick dance.
I don't know. Give me some graphics on the ice. Give me an organist, and give me more goals.
Well, okay, I can be there. And Landy, what are the 3 you're choosing?
Oregon, street rallies. I missed that. And
How about street riots? That works in Vancouver.
See, I like the idea of street rallies before every playoff game, but I think it loses a little bit if you're going to do it 41 times a year.
That's true. I can get on board with that.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I would. You know what? I would like to see more tailgating though, or like some kind of tailgate element that we kind of never had. And hockey is very hard to do that in. And it's just not a sport to tailgate. But it would be kind of cool to see if maybe we could get something like that.
See, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and obviously it. Well, I do see guys doing that for for the Giants games, but the whole thing is that typically when it comes to tailgate stuff, it's usually for stuff that's for outdoor games, or at the very least, it's for games that are being played at in the afternoon at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, or something, versus 7:30 at night, and especially on a Tuesday when people are trying to get out of work.
Or have like some kind of rally, on the doubleheader nights with the Barracuda.
Yeah, like they did that one
Yeah.
night where they have the doubleheader, like the 1 o'clock game is over. Make them stay over there rather than have them. You want them to stay within you? Yeah, have like.
That's a good
set
idea.
Up, beer set up, maybe
Yep.
maybe it's $1.50 hot dogs, that they got from Costco.
I do
Stuff
like
that. That would be perfect for doubleheader games only, though. I think that would be the key.
Absolutely, you got to make it special.
As for street rallies, you gotta do it before every playoff game. I think lately they were doing it like one time per playoff round, and that's ridiculous.
Yeah, like game one. Yeah, you got to do it for everyone. And for God's sakes, bring back Air Shark. Bring back Zamboni races, for Christ's sake.
Oh, I miss Zamboni races.
But
and for that matter, let's not let it be the BMX bike riders every street rally, please.
yeah, no. And it would be really nice too, and I don't think that they'll do it because there's always something going on now. But it would be really nice that if the tank is not in use and the Sharks are playing a playoff game away, you open up the tank and let people come
Yes.
in. And to St. Owen, I didn't say that there's something wrong with Kaylee per se. I don't know her personally. I'm just saying her voice is irritating over a PA system. That's all.
What's scary is that you can understand her, but you can't understand the whole song.
No, I was actually having a little bit of a hard time understanding because, like I said, it's like, everything is so high, we're so excited, we're talking so quickly, and it's like you can, dial it down a notch.
You know who would be really good besides Rocket? Generation X-Wing would be perfect for that hosting.
Well, we kind of already have that in Danny Miller, though.
But I'm just saying, you have the suave voice of Gen X.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think.
Oh man, yeah, I can picture that. It's a suave voice of Gen X. Would you like behind what's door number 1 or what's behind door number 2?
The only problem is that if Rocket does the PA announcing, every wife is going to have to cover their man's ears. That voice is like butter. It's just like,
dear God, is it ever? Dear God.
Trying to say that guys are going to have to bring towels with them or something?
Exactly.
Every podcast. I mean,
Let's put it.
Yeah, I can picture when the contestants are playing, as soon as they're done playing the game, she's like, "Thank you."
Wait, no. But let's be honest here.
Oh my. Oh my indeed.
All right. With that,
Poor Rocket.
More Rocket? No, that's an art. It's a gift.
That's true.
Hey, guys.
It's all right.
Let me just ask you about this. Final thing before we look ahead towards Vancouver. As some of you may know, the March 24th game versus the Edmonton Oilers is Star Wars night. However, I'm just seeing a tweet from the Edmonton Oilers. It looks like they're trying to get a group of people to come down to San Ho. They just tweeted out a thing that said "Sick Day, March 24th" to join us in San Jose. Official sick day voucher.
Are you kidding me? Really? I mean, oh come on, Canadians! You guys have to get visas and all that crap. Just don't.
All right.
Just don't.
So here we go again, because we're trying to blockade the Canucks on Saturday, and this is a great time to mention on Saturday, Sharks tweet up outside section 118 by the Sharks Foundation kiosk. Be there. Yes, you get a button to the first 30 some odd people. Be there, please. Thank you.
Oh, here comes Generation with the button. Button!
You know what? I'll be more than happy to mail Gen X a button for him, so that way.
Do I get a button?
Yes, Ian, you get a button.
You're part of Pucknology. I would think
Yes.
you would get a button.
Dude,
I can't make the trip.
dude, I've sent the guy 3 placards. I don't even see those. You think he's gonna wear a
They're-
damn button?
I'll wear a button. Though the placards are going up, I got to. I don't know. You think
I'll
laundry
believe
has
it when I'll believe it when I see
I
it.
know, I know. You
Pictures
think
are
laundry
didn't
has
happen.
a lot of laundry on his couch behind him? You should see the pile of baskets behind me if the light was on.
All right, and I'm waiting for my CSN California poster to arrive, and I don't know where it is. They asked me about it last week.
Dude, don't sweat it, dude. It took like 3 weeks for mine to show up.
Yeah.
Just give it some time. Dude, you should see how tardy they are sending out the fucking pucks.
No,
Jesus.
I'm waiting for my Spalling puck for calling that one the other night. Anyways, let's look to Vancouver. Oh, gee, what a shock there. Their fans are irate. There could be a chance that you could see a thrown jersey on Thursday night.
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
Way too excited for that.
I don't think we see the throne jersey unless they lose Thursday and then lose again Sunday. I mean, if they win on Thursday and because it's here.
No,
Well, you know what? They might fly down just to throw it.
I want the shutout. Let's do to them what we did to Toronto, 7-0. Just shut them up in their own barn.
And also, of course, they play tomorrow against the Islanders in Vancouver, so we could see it before Thursday. They got to come out, run and gun. I mean, they played them once, so now you know what their tendencies are. Go out and kick their ass. I mean,
And I hope they make up for last Sunday's start.
well, they were saving their energy for tonight, apparently. Obviously. So, final thoughts before we get out of here.
Well, you got a question there from St. Owen. Tweet up pregame as well, or just intermissions?
It is tweet up pregame. So when the arena opens at 5:45, because remember it's at 7. It's a 7 p.m. start because of Hockey Night in Canada.
All those Canadians and their damn hockey night.
So it's 5:45 when the arena opens. Just head to the Sharks kiosk. Maybe bid on one of their things beforehand, and I'll be out there with the buttons and. Buttons I'll write your name and your user handle, and that way you can interact with everybody on there. So
You want to use what of mine? What do you want to use of mine? My handle? Come on.
Oh Jesus!
My goodness! Wow! Wow!
I had nothing to do with that, and I already shut down the laptop that had the horn on it, so it's not coming.
Damn it! Here, I'll.
All right.
You need to get some. All right. With that, for AJ Strong, for Ian Reed, for Eric Landy, and our entire staff, including our folks in the chat, and Zach Croft, and Slushy, who provides the questions. Make sure you subscribe down below or above or over to the side. Check out Pucknology.net. Ian has a great breakdown on the trade deadline, especially with the stuff in the Pacific.
I'm going to do the whole Pacific tomorrow if all goes well.
It was a teaser for that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We will be back with you Thursday in some form. Some people might be here, some people might not. We might even have a reporter from Vancouver chiming in on what he saw at the game that night. So until Thursday night, keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it real fresh. Good night.